I heard that little herb gatherer has written out a whole set of behavioral rules for herself. She may be small, but boy, has she got her head screwed on. She's definitely destined for greatness. The young of today shall outperform us tomorrow, as they say. I must admit, she has my respect. Ganyu is kind and thoughtful. It's just a shame she's so busy all the time. Most of the time, she's buried in an endless pile of paperwork, the only exception being her nap at noon. Don't get me wrong, I have to put in some hours at work too, but I'm happy with the job I've chosen, and it's certainly a lot less taxing than hers. The Feiyun Commerce Guild is one of my oldest clients. Their approach to business is meticulous and thorough, and every business meeting I've had with them has always been attended by the head of the house himself. Last time, though, I happened to meet their youngest, Xingqiu. To my complete surprise, the lad had no trouble whatsoever keeping up with my train of thought. He was very eloquent, too, and had excellent manners. Definitely not a simpleton. I always hear people saying that the director of the Wangsheng funeral parlor has an unorthodox approach to business. They think she's gone a little non-compos mentis after being in the funeral business so long. What are these people talking about? The Wangsheng funeral parlor provides a legitimate and necessary service, which is the cornerstone of any successful enterprise. Work is just work. There are no good and bad jobs or lucky and unlucky jobs, just jobs that need doing. If I had one gripe, it would be that the director rarely comes to me for legal advice. Mr. Zhongli has so much in-depth knowledge on so many topics, he's like a walking library, you know what I mean? He's a total savant, though he never flaunts it. I could tell just by looking at him. People like him rarely shy away from taking on complex problems alone, so in my estimation, he's certainly not a potential client. And yet, somehow, I can't help but think I know him from somewhere. It's hard to describe the feeling. I asked my father about it, and he just said something to the effect of he didn't know either, though he seemed a little evasive. It was so strange. Anyway, makes me wonder if my father is hiding something from me. All right then. If he won't tell me what's going on, I'll just have to find out for myself. You must have heard of the Tianquan Ningguang. She's the highest authority where the law is concerned, and often makes amendments to the legal codices. Every round of additions, retractions, and revisions generates mountains of material. Why, the latest edition of the legal codices contained 3 new laws, 121 revised legal annotations, and an array of new legal precedents. Archons know how long it's going to take me to commit them to memory. Still, she's a businesswoman at heart. I'm not about to let her beat me when it comes to the law. Once I finish memorizing these, I need to step up my productivity. The Yuheng doesn't deal with matters of the law, and thank goodness. Knowing Keqing's attitude toward work and ruthless efficiency, I'd end up losing a lot of work. Although, no, surely it wouldn't come to that. She's a stickler for doing things the right way. No doubt she'd offend people. But if she had someone like me as her legal assistant, no way. Why should an eminent legal expert such as myself be relegated to the role of assistant? If she needs legal counsel, she can come and find me. Eula saved me once, and we've kept up correspondence ever since. She's very familiar with the Knights of Favonius' legislation, but has never been one to be bound by convention. She uses cunning logic to deal with problems flexibly. Perhaps the reason we get along so easily is that I'm a similar type myself. Still, I'll never acquire that carefree spirit of hers. We are in very different professions, after all. You want legal advice from me? Sure. For legal opinions, I charge a flat rate of 6,000 mora. For advisory services, my hourly rate is 180,000 mora. And for commercial law, I charge 710,000 mora per case. Final quote and commission rate depending on the details of your case. Not a bad deal, right? If you're concerned about what kind of complicated issues you might get tied up in during your travels, your best bet is to bring someone with you who knows and understands the law. Someone like me, for example, whose expertise goes beyond just the law of Liyue. Well, actually, having said that, Fontaine's law is notoriously complicated. Though, with my level of intelligence, getting acquainted with it should be no problem. Anyway, my point is, you can always rely on me. You think I come across as quite imposing when I'm reading through case files? Huh. Well, that's only when I'm in work mode. It's like I have an invisible switch. Flick it one way and I'm in normal mode. Flick it the other way and I switch to work mode. Surely you must have a switch like that too. Civil cases are the ones I dread the most. Divorces, custody disputes. It's a thankless task trying to unpack these kinds of cases with logic and reason. You have to be kind, courteous, and patient with your clients, even though half the time they are completely incapable of participating in a constructive discussion. I know I advertise myself as being fully versed in every area of the law, but honestly, if it were up to me, I'd rather everyone could just get along so we wouldn't have so many of these cases. A client? Very pleased to meet you. Here's my card. I'm afraid I can't leave my desk today. If it's a dispute we're dealing with, then please bring the relevant parties here to see me. Let me just give you a breakdown of my fees. One moment. Huh? You came just to chat? No fee necessary then. So just to clarify, you came to chat as friends with a legal expert that you've never met before. Care to explain? These antlers? Oh, well, my father is an Adeptus, so I have Adeptus blood myself. Still, I was born during peacetime here in Liyue. I never signed a contract with Rex Lapis. Naturally, I don't have to concern myself with Adeptal affairs. I'm free to focus on the life I want to live. Works for me. Contracts of that magnitude, lifelong commitments? I've only ever signed one with my father. It's about living happily, I suppose. That's the kind of person he is. I'm proud of him for that. If he'd wanted me to sign a different contract, say, one about working myself into the ground, or stepping on others to achieve success, I would have ran away by now. Sometimes the commercial disputes I handle don't end very pleasantly. The other party might win compensation way in excess of the damages, or pay damages far exceeding the costs. Such is the price of violating a contract. Some people say I'm pretty terrifying. Others try to avoid me altogether. But I don't need to explain myself to anyone. Since the very beginning, the welfare of Liyue has been my primary concern. Think about it. The origin of disputes can be traced back to the violation of contracts. People are a lot less likely to violate contracts when they see the fallout. Making sure that people realize the importance of contracts is a crucial part of my work. Most of the time, I feel that I have a happy and laid-back existence. I have a successful career, clothes on my back, and the freedom to go wherever I please. I've also got quite a way with words. Nobody can beat me in a debate, and yet there is no law or standard that can define a happy life. For me, interesting people and engaging affairs, knowing where to go and which path to choose, these are all enough to bring me happiness. And on that note, you too are a source of happiness for me. In any case, whatever the life you live, the most important thing is to respect and understand the law. After all, as soon as you stray from the law, the world begins to fall to ruin.